Welcome, my constant reader friends. I'm Tad, and this is Tad Reads Books and Stuff. Can you believe it? This is my third video I'm going to be posting this week. Yes, I've never done this before, but as you can tell, getting a little scruffy here. I started vacation today. Today's July 5th. Of course, had yesterday off for a holiday, but I'm going on vacation today. So I've been able to do, well, this will be my third video this week. So what am I doing? Well, I just started doing a read along with Moyd on his channel, and it's for the book series The Expanse. I've never done a read along before, so I started that. I'm enjoying that. This is my first time doing a book tag. So, my friend Kim, the Paper Traveler is her channel. She did a book tag, and it's called Rockin' the Music Book Tag. All right, so what is it? Well, she took some of her favorite songs, or I guess music that she's been listening to recently, and chose some of the songs, the titles, and developed a book tag out of that. So I'm gonna do my first book tag for the Paper Traveler channel. And the first question is, so what she was doing was taking an album and a song off an album and then relating that song title into a question concerning books. So the first question is, let me look at it. I'm going to read it. A book that kept you turning the pages, or of course losing sleep. Well, this gave me a chance. There's a lot, of course. There's a lot that you really start getting into, and then before you know it, it's 1 o'clock in the morning or something. And I do most of my reading, after work, later at night. But this is my opportunity to show off once again my favorite book of all time. I could not put this book down when I started reading it, and that is It by Stephen King. Man, I love this book. I've read it now 3 or 4 times. The thing is that, and he does this so great, this coming of age story, but he does it so well that you just start, I don't know, I started thinking of these characters as like my best friends, and I wanted to see what was going to happen next and what was going to happen next, and I just kept reading and reading and reading. This is a big book. This is a doorstopper. It's heavy as hell too. What is it? Geez, 1,138 pages, and I couldn't put this thing down. I breezed through it in a couple days because it was so good. But yes, so my book that kept me turning the pages more than any other book in the history of Tad is It by Stephen King. All right, now the second question is, what book would you take on a vacation? That's funny. I'm going on vacation starting today. So I'm actually going to be going to a convention in Orlando, and it gives me the opportunity to bring this book, which I've been waiting to read, and this is Joe Hill, 20th Century Ghosts. What I like to do when I go on vacations is bring, a short story compilation type book with me. That way the stories are quicker. I can read through a couple, set it down, go do what I'm going to do on my vacation time, come back. At night I can read through one before I go to sleep or something. I don't normally bring a book that I have to, that I'm reading a big book or something like that, because I kind of, just want to have fun on my vacation and not be, sometimes I get thinking about books and that's all I think about. So I'm going to bring Joe Hill's 20th Century Ghosts. There's, I believe, 18 short stories in this novel, and one of them, Black Phone, they just made a movie for, and I believe it just got released in June, the end of June here. I haven't seen it yet, but it's a short story in here, Black Phone. They're even talking about doing a sequel for it already. So far, everything I've read from Joe Hill, everything I've watched, you know, Lock and Key, I've loved. So I'm sure I'm going to love that. A lot of high praise for that. Number 3, a book you did not finish or DNF'd. Well, let me tell you, I have never DNF'd a book. I can set it aside for a long time, and I do that often, which you just saw from recently, From Hell by Alan Moore. That graphic novel I've just set aside for a while. I just couldn't get into it like I really wanted to. But pretty much I don't DNF books. Now, I have one book that I'm going to put out here. Oh my gosh. I've been reading this book as long as I can remember. Victor Hugo, Les Miserables. And this is the only complete and unabridged paperback edition. You can see it, it's beat to hell. I have carried this everywhere I've gone, from when I was in the military, living in Maine, New York, all over Florida. And look how far I am. I'm on page 736. Now, I do have a bookmark here. This bookmark's pretty cool. I haven't seen it in a while. It says Tad. Tad is courageous. And then it's got a Bible verse there. I'm using it as a bookmark. I've been using it forever as a bookmark. But the thing is, I mean, it's pretty small type, very close set. Just a huge mammoth book. And it's not that I don't enjoy it. I actually enjoy the book a lot. I love the musical. I don't know. It just has taken me forever to read this book. I will finish it someday, I hope. I don't know. I've still got a lot to go, but I've been reading this like, geez, since the 80s, early 80s. So that's crazy. But Victor Hugo, Les Mis, I have not finished. I will someday, I promise. All right, number 4. A book that made you feel like you traveled. All right, so I think sometimes a little weirdly, a little bit maybe outside the box, I don't know, but if you're going to agree with me on this one, but I'm going to use this here. Douglas Adams. Now I have the more than complete Hitchhiker's Guide. So this, of course, was complete and unabridged. It has Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Restaurant at the End of the Universe, Life, the Universe, and Everything, So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, and it also has a short story, Young Zaphod Plays It Safe. So there is another book or two out there in this universe, but I'm going to use this one because, I mean, it says it right on it. It's the Hitchhiker's Guide. You get on a spacecraft and you go all over the universe. What could be more traveled than over the universe? So anyways, yeah, I'm sure a lot of you have read these books. They're so fun. They're just great reads. And they make you go from planet to planet, from different situation, very similar to, I don't know, I guess for me, maybe because it's British, Doctor Who. But anyways, Douglas Adams, and this is the more than complete Hitchhiker's Guide. All right, moving on. So now we're down to question, or tag number 5. It's the book that surprised you or scared you. Now, I gotta be honest, I read my fair share of horror. I would say I read mostly fantasy, then science fiction, then horror, then historical novels. I love my historical novels and biographies and autobiographies. Things like I read pretty much anything I can. But I don't really ever get scared. It's a book. It doesn't scare me. Now, Pet Sematary may be one of the scariest books I've ever read. That had my toes curling. So, of course, did some other Stephen King books. But not like scary. But I do have a book that super surprised me. And that is Soulless by Gail Carriger. So, my buddy, he knows that I'm big into steampunk, and I like that aesthetic. I read a lot of it, and he comes to me with this book. Not actually this one here, but the paperback. Maybe I can find a picture and put a picture of the paperback over here that he gave me. And he said, you know, dude, you got to read this. It's awesome. And, you know, I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, is it a love story? He's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, is it urban fantasy? And he's like, yeah, but it's steampunk urban fantasy. And I'm like, okay, two things I'm not really big into reading, romance or urban fantasy, really. I'm trying to get into Jim Butcher and the Dresden Files, but I've only read the first book of that series, and it really wasn't anything special. Anyways, that's another subject. So he gives me this one. So it's Gail Carriger. And what does it say in it? It says a novel of vampires, werewolves, and parasols. So it's also the name soulless. There are people who don't have any souls. Now the thing about it was freaking awesome. It was a great story. Gail Carriger, I'm lucky now. I've met her on several occasions. This copy I did get her to sign for me. A lot of times, people ask me about this. A lot of times when I get my autographs, I just have them autograph it. I don't have them put my name or anything on it. I'm not going to live forever. Someday my kids are probably going to want to sell my thousands of books that I have. And especially the ones that have signatures might bring them more money. I don't know. I just don't. I don't get my name put on them very often. But anyways, yeah, Soulless. Great story. You got to read it. Gail Carriger is a great writer, and definitely it is steampunk. It is urban fantasy, vampires, werewolves. There are a couple hairy scenes in there that are pretty scary too. They torture these vampires. I'm not going to tell you the story, but anyways, and it's a whole series called the Parasol Protectorate series. So, and she's got several other series that are steampunk. I don't know if you know much about Gail. She speaks like, I don't know, a million languages. She's got 50 degrees, and she's very intelligent, and she dresses steampunk all the time. Really cool book, really cool lady. All right, so that's Soulless. Really surprised me because how good it was. I guess I shouldn't have been surprised, but all right. So number 6, show a book with a predominantly black cover. Now, of course, Kim showed Doctor Strange and Mr. Norrell, which is one of my all-time favorite novels, which was the book that when I was watching her video, I immediately thought I would show, but she showed it, so I'm not going to show my version of that. But I did find another one. This one almost made the last question too as a surprise for me. And that's this version of Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Now, it is, I mean, it's black. There's a lot of red. So 2 colors, black and red. The cover is really cool. I don't know if you can see it with the glare from the lights. It's been storming in Florida, so I don't have the sun today. I have to use bright overhead lights. But if you can see this, it's really cool. It's just this red on black. It says no mourners, no funerals on the back. And then of course this beautiful red page edging is awesome. But predominantly black and red. This almost made my surprise because, again, it's a YA story that I wasn't sure about. I heard the first trilogy in this world is very YA, and you know, so love triangles and things like that. But this was really good. I haven't read Crooked Kingdom yet, the second one. I had it on my list, but then other things happened. I'm going to get to it this year, but I was really surprised with Six of Crows how much I really liked this. So that's my predominantly black cover book. All right, what's next? So we're down to number 7. What book are you excited to read or own? Well, that would be the new Tad Williams book that's coming out. It's called Into the Narrow Dark. I've talked about this a little bit before because now this is the third book in his new series of his Austin Ard world, which of course was Dragon Bone Chair and that, which we talked about in a couple of videos. And I talked about this cover. This cover does not match the other books so far in the series, the first two books. But I don't know, it's still kind of cool. It just doesn't match. But I'm so waiting for this to come out. I haven't started reading the other two books yet, but this is the next book that I can't wait to get, to own, and then eventually to read. Tad Williams, Into the Narrow Dark. All right, what are we down to now? We're down to, all right, this one. So this is number 8, Best Bookish Relationship. Again, I think a little bit differently maybe than some people, and I don't read a lot of romance things. Now, of course, there's relationships in almost everything you read, I would say. There's something going on. But what is my favorite relationship, my bookish relationship of all time, and one of my favorite stories of all time? Sherlock Holmes. What better relationship is there out there in the bookish world? Sherlock and Dr. Watson. I mean, there's no other better relationship. I mean, for me, it's a relationship, right? It's I don't know what to say. I don't know. I guess most people probably are going to do some type of other relationships, love interests and things like that. But you can't tell me these two don't love each other, right? Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, the best relationship in all novels. All right, so that's mine, number 8. All right, number 9. Number 9 is junk or stuff taking up space on your bookshelves. Well, I'm going to take you out to one of my bookshelves in the other room and just show it to you. I don't really, I mean, you can see I have some stuff on the tops of my bookshelves, but I don't, like some people put a lot of tchotchkes and stuff, you know, in front of their books on their bookshelves. I don't really, but I have one bookshelf out in the other room that has other stuff other than books. It does have books on it, but it also has other stuff. So we're going to go out there. I'm going to show you that real quick, and then we'll come back. All right, well, I don't normally put things on my bookshelves except books. Sometimes on the tops of them. You can see in my video where I'm sitting in my chair, I have some things sitting on top of my bookshelves. But here's a bookshelf that I have where I don't have only books on it. I do, of course, have the Harry Potter books up here, a couple movies. But down on this shelf, I have my collection of Babylon 5 DVDs, of course, with Crusade, and then Aeon Flux. Up here, more of my Harry Potter books. The collection below that, albums. So I used to be a huge album collector, had hundreds of them. And then I went into the military and my sister decided to have a yard sale and sold all my albums. So I've slowly been going to thrift stores and even buying some new ones and to try to build up my album collection again. Here are some cool Funko Pops we have, some Harry Potter Funko Pops. Hermione seems to be AWOL right now. I believe she's somewhere else at the time being. Some more albums, some more box sets, and on over to my CDs. Got 3 big books of CDs. They're all in alphabetical order, and then a couple compilations, Velvet Underground, and some RCA Victory Jazz CDs there, and of course the remainder of the Harry Potter books, and of course some of the other J.K. Rowling books that we have. So that's one of my bookshelves that doesn't have just books on them. All the other ones do, pretty much. So hope you enjoyed that. All right, let's go back to the video. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that little bookshelf vignette or viewing, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I don't pile stuff in front of my books. I've got another question to people out there. Do you front your books, or do you push the books back, and then put stuff in front of them? I don't bring them right to the edge, but I front them pretty much. They're only like a couple inches back from the front. That's how I do mine. I do have a bunch of paperbacks that I actually have stacked, so there's some behind and then some in front. But for the most part, my books are fronted. I'm just curious if people front their books or slide them back. All right, so the paper traveler said that if you wanted to do this book tag, that you would be responsible, meaning me, to come up with the 10th tag. So what she wants is for you to pick a song or an album or something, show that off, and then give a question, a tag for that. So for number 10, I've done that. Animals by Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd, Animals. This is 1977. See the inside of it. It's a great album, a little bit different. I'll just read to you the titles of the songs on the back. Side 1 is Pigs on the Wing, Part 1. Dogs. Side 2 is Pigs, 3 different ones. Sheep, and Pigs on the Wing, Part 2. I'm not really picking out a specific song, I'm picking out the title of the album. The album title is Animals. So what's my question? My question is, who is your favorite bookish animal companion? So there's a ton of those. I know a lot of you out there love your animal companions in novels. And I'm just curious, what is your favorite one? Again, me being strange, oh, I got a little pile going here. My favorite animal companion, bookish animal companion, is Abernathy. Now, Abernathy is actually a man who has been magicked in this fantasy kingdom, magic kingdom, and he's been turned into a dog. So now he's a dog. His name's Abernathy. And he is, well, an animal companion right here. Now, this is, so in this picture, this is Ben Holiday, Quester Thews. He's a magician. You gotta have a magician in a magic kingdom. And then Abernathy. And Abernathy, it just says that, but he's really just Ben's court scribe. So pretty much he educates Ben when he buys this kingdom for sale, sold, buys this kingdom and goes to this magical kingdom. And Abernathy pretty much is his court scribe, but kind of almost like a squire, kind of teaches him, the world and what's going on. Quester Thews, of course, the magician, is his, also teaches him what's going on. There's other reasons why they need somebody here to run this kingdom. But anyways, fun book, of course. Terry Brooks, one of my favorites. Again, another one that I got Terry to sign when I met Terry Brooks. And yeah, so these go on. There's, I believe, 6 books in the series now. And Abernathy's one of the main characters in the book. It's funny because he's a man turned into an animal. So he has, you know, through his eyes, I think he still thinks he's a man, but he still does all kinds of doggish stuff. That's freaking hilarious. You got to read it. This is a great book. Magic Kingdom for Sale Sold. My favorite bookish animal companion. All right, so now I'm curious to see what you all think would be maybe your favorite bookish animal companion. I'd like to see if there's other ones here. I know Kim, if you do this book tag, she wants you to put at the Paper Traveler in the description below so she knows that you did it. Same thing, just I thought this was something fun to do. I've not done a book tag before, and I had a blast. So thanks, Kim, and thanks to the Paper Traveler channel for having this cool Rockin' the Music book tag. All right, guys, have a good rest of your week. Peace out.